Chapter 5. Regardless, the same morning I was telling you about, I decided to walk by the coast in search of creatures who depend on the water to live. I became so encapsulated by the different species of animals that I didn't notice I was moving south toward the townspeople. Before I realized it, I was extremely close, on the very brink of the town. And I don't know what it is, but these people have a sixth sense because they started coming toward me. Yes, I was aware that I was not the kindest of a person and was unnecessarily blunt more often than not. However, I am not one to display bad manners. I really was trying to be better than the townspeople, so I wasn't just gonna run away. They flooded me with questions, pulled me into the town, and sat me down in the middle of the town square for their monthly Friday festival. Looking back on it now, I don't know how I let this slip my mind. If I had remembered, I would have been extra cautious to ensure I didn't come anywhere near the town. I remember growing up, participating in and watching the festivals. As a child, it was fun and innocent. Now that I'm older, I have grown to no longer enjoy these festivals. To keep the security and abundance of agriculture, crops, and ultimately food, they would charge 5% of each individual's seasonal crop to trade with other townspeople for their seasonal crop. Although this is a smart way to prepare for a disaster or a famine in advance, the essence of the townspeople community, or so they say, is community. Thus, why charge? Why harbor this food? I'm positive that if one family were in need according to their shared societal values, they'd help one another. Furthermore, if we underwent a famine or disaster, which we have, according to shared values, the other communities would come to our aid, which they have too. For these reasons, my father stopped allowing our family to participate in and attend the former festivals. The evidence suggested a possibility of corruption of some sort that the majority of the community was unaware of. My father seemed to be keenly aware of many suspicious anomalies within our community and the others. He was the only townsperson who traveled to other communities regularly for non business related reasons. Since he was the keeper of history, he often traveled across the region in search for more information books, writings, journals, and anything he could get his hands on from our industrial age. He strongly believed in and always instructed me to be grateful for the life we lived. He spoke about the atrocities and issues our society faced generations ago when we were a technologically advanced society. He loved our town and the diverse community around the region. For this reason, he often tried to see the bright side despite the concerns he uncovered. Additionally, he took it upon himself to ensure society didn't go back to how it was before. He was a great and honest man. I admired his goals and aspirations, but I didn't see any worth in going at it the way he did. He really tried to epitomize and embody the values of this society, and consequently, at times let himself be a pushover and let others walk over him. If I'm being honest, I don't think his death was an accident. I firmly believe he was killed. I know, it sounds outrageous. According to the books still available, a murder case has been seen in over a century. He was caught in a fire. The history the history keeper's house is the last place for there to be a fire. Due to the amount of history and knowledge harbored within that space, it is almost impossible to catch fire after all the precautions. It must have been organized. Thankfully, most of the writings were salvaged. For some time, the writings were turned over to an appointed member of the council. This is what I think. Herod, the one they appointed to harbor the writings for some time, had my father murdered. My father spoke discreetly about a small group of people growing in numbers who wanted to restore the glory days. Herod waited for the day he was on the board, had my father murdered, and convinced everyone to have him appointed as the temporary keeper of time. I was 13 years old at the time. I was angry at the townspeople for the death of my father. I understood more of what he talked about than he was aware. Since my father was the keeper of history, I was the successor. However, I needed to be of at least 16 years of age, but preferably 18 to succeed him entirely. With the help of my mother, we fought for the writings to be in my possession and to take over my father's duties. Ultimately, we succeeded, but my anger overcame me, and at the age of 13, angry with the townspeople, I left for the outskirts of our town and built a life on my own. Obsessed, I read every single day, every writing as many times as I could. I learned too much, probably for my own good. Lost in thought, I unintentionally, but with no remorse, ignored the people talking to me. My attention veered from the townspeople's words to the smiles and laughter of the children and teenagers playing, watching and participating in the festival. Thinking back on it now, it was extremely refreshing to be around other people, feel cared for, and see the happiness and joy in others. For so long, I subjugated myself to a life of monotony. Looking back at my life, I see glimpses of thoughts and emotions hinting at the reluctance to my willful imprisonment. I became engulfed in observation. I was so focused that I blocked out every noise around me. I thought that being there wasn't so bad after all. At least it allowed me to observe other humans and not just the wildlife like I did every day. Quite frankly, I was amused. There were numerous amounts of red, yellow, and orange decorations banners, murals, streamers, lanterns, intricately designed handmade baskets made out of twigs, grasses, reeds, and bark in various shades of dark orange or brown, and with different kinds of plants, including flowers, fruits, and vegetables, and sculptures of wood, bark, clay, and even bush sculptures. It was a beautiful display of art and culture. Unfortunately, my focus was stolen by this month's council collecting the 5% tax from the townspeople entering the square for the festival. Angrily, I got up and walked toward them. Honestly, I don't remember who was speaking to me, but whoever it was, they must have been shocked at me just getting up and walking away as they spoke.